Do you ever catch yourself trying to manage everything? People, plans, emotion, and somehow end up feeling more tangled instead of calm? Today's video is for that moment, the one where letting go might actually be easier than holding on. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Garjana. I'm a psychotherapist and crafter. And today I'm building a page in my junk journal planner that helps me gently sort what I cannot control from what I actually can. For today, I prepared another free printable that you can download from my Ko-Fi page. And my plan is to make 10 little pockets out of these little snippets here. These 10 small pockets will each hold something I am ready to release. I hope to place a comforting reminder tucked inside for the moments I'm trying to hold on again. And at the end of the video, in a fold-out envelope, I will place a letter to myself, a soft note about what remains within my hands, no matter what's happening around me. So, I would like each pocket to represent one of those moments where I still catch myself trying to control what's never really been mine to control. It's humbling how often it happens, even after years of therapy, teaching and practice. We all reach for certainty when we feel unsafe. But safety, I think, grows when we stop tightening our fists and start trusting our own ability to respond. So, I wrote down 10 things I know I cannot control. Even if I sometimes forget, I might be able to influence things, but ultimately the outcome of these things are out of my control and are also not for me to control actually. So the first one is other people's pace of healing. There are people I wish I could help move faster, out of pain, out of patterns that hurt them. I can see their potential so clearly, and sometimes it aches to watch them struggle. But healing doesn't speed up because someone else is ready for the next chapter. It unfolds in its own rhythm, shaped by nervous system, histories, fears, and the tiny pieces of safety they have gathered along the way. What looks like resistance from the outside is often self-protection. What looks like not trying is sometimes someone doing everything they can with the energy they have today. And when I remember that, something inside me softens. I stop trying to accelerate them and instead let my steps match theirs, slowly, steady, companion-like. Walking beside someone doesn't mean directing or rescuing them. It means trusting their readiness and holding space without pressure. And maybe that's the quiet wisdom here. Remembering that healing isn't a race, it's a returning. And everyone's returning asks for a different pace. So my affirmation for myself in that pocket is their healing is their own rhythm. I can walk beside them, not ahead of them. So, and often when we are walking beside someone like that, we also feel the room around us, the atmosphere that shapes the moment, which brings me to my next pocket, the emotional weather in the room. Sometimes I walk into a room and instantly feel the mood. The heaviness, the quiet tension, the unspoken grief, whatever is there. Many of us become experts in reading emotional weather long before we understood that's what we are doing. It kept us safe. It helped us predict what was coming. It became a habit of the body. So when I sense emotional weather now, my instinct is to adjust myself, to soothe, to absorb. But not every cloud belongs to me. People arrive with their own storms, their own mornings. Sometimes the heaviness has nothing to do with me at all. This pocket reminds me that I can notice the atmosphere without becoming responsible for it. I can feel the tension and still stay rooted. Grounding isn't about controlling the weather, it's about tending to the climate inside myself. When I let the energy stay where it belongs, something in me settles. So my affirmation is, I can ground myself even when the air feels heavy. And as we navigate both people's healing and the atmosphere they bring, we often bump into something deeper. The beliefs they hold to feel safe. Sometimes I watch people hold tightly to beliefs that limit them, beliefs that keep them guarded or small. But inside those beliefs is a kind of safety for them. They might not be accurate or helpful, but they make the world feel more manageable to them. When someone needs a story to survive, that story becomes very precious to them. And trying to pull it away too soon, even gently, can make someone cling tighter. Their belief isn't the problem, it is their protective measure. And this pocket reminds me that my job is not to correct or to convince anybody, but to stay present. People loosen their grip on old stories when they finally feel safe enough to imagine new ones. And my presence, not my pressure, is what helps that safety form. So my affirmation is, their beliefs protect their story. I don't need to rewrite it. And once we honor the story someone holds tightly, we inevitably face another truth. How someone receives my truth, I can't control. Even when I speak gently, my truth might land in a way I didn't intend. Someone may hear blame where I meant tenderness, or distance where I meant honesty. Communication travels through two nervous systems, two histories, two sets of old wounds. It's never symmetrical. Sometimes honesty touches a bruise in someone's past, and their reaction is to the bruise, not to me. And that's not something I can fix. What I can do is stay anchored in why I spoke. Did I speak with care, with clarity, with a desire for understanding? My affirmation is, I can speak with honesty and let go of needing agreement. And when we let go of needing agreement, we also let go of something else. The version of ourselves that lives only in someone's memory. So my next pocket is, I can't control how someone remembers me. We exist in people's memories as versions of ourselves, shaped by timing, by emotions, by the chapter they met us in. Sometimes that version is outdated. Sometimes it's incomplete. Sometimes it's a younger self I've long outgrown. It's painful when someone still holds on old snapshots of me, but their memory isn't my responsibility. I don't need to return to the past to adjust the lighting or rewrite the scene. My task is to stay present in who I am becoming now, not who I once had to be. This pocket reminds me that someone else's memory of me isn't the whole story. I get to keep evolving, even if their version stays still. So the affirmation for this pocket for me is, I release the version of me that lives in their memory. I'm allowed to keep growing. And often when we think about the past, we meet someone even closer, our younger self. So my next pocket here is, I can't control what my younger self didn't know. When I look back at my younger self, I sometimes wish she had known more, spoken sooner, or chosen differently. But she wasn't failing, she was surviving with the tools she had. She moved through a world she didn't yet understand, making choices that felt safest. Those strategies, even the ones I've outgrown, kept me alive long enough to grow into someone with more clarity and more grace. This pocket reminds me that she doesn't need correction, she needs gratitude actually. She walked through the storms I didn't yet have language for. She is the foundation of everything I have become. So my affirmation in this pocket is, she did her best with what she had. I don't need to apologize for her. I am actually really grateful for everything she has done for me. And the more compassion I offer my younger self, the more I realize that so much of what she held onto, I now have permission to release. Growing means outgrowing, not just people or roles, but old versions of myself, old patterns and entire seasons of life. And that brings me to the next pocket, an honest look at the gentle, unpredictable timing of endings. I have no control over it. Endings follow a rhythm of their own. Relationships, roles, identities, they fade or shift long before we are ready, or sometimes long after. I used to think effort could prevent endings, but endings don't follow effort, they follow truth. Grief arrives in waves, soft, sharp, unpredictable. And eventually, in this space endings leave behind, something new begins forming. A clearer boundary, a deeper understanding, a quieter version of myself emerging. This pocket reminds me that endings aren't failure, they are thresholds. Letting something end with kindness is one of the gentlest forms of courage, I think. So my affirmation for this pocket is, every ending opens space for something unseen to begin. And when something ends, whether gently or painfully, there's always that in-between space. The space where we want answers, where we long for understanding, where we wonder what's next. And that's where the next pocket lives, in the slow unfolding of clarity. And so the next thing for myself, the next thing I can't control is actually when clarity arrives. There are seasons when I want answers now. The why, the how, the what's next. But clarity doesn't respond to urgency, it responds to safety. Often I don't understand something yet because my nervous system is still protecting me. It's not withholding, it's guarding. And when I'm finally ready, clarity arrives gently, like morning light revealing what was there all along. Or it arrives in a sudden flash, a moment of knowing that feels like truth finally catching up to me. So this pocket reminds me that not knowing, again, is not a failure. It's a form of protection. Clarity will come when I'm steady enough to hold it. So my affirmation in that page is, it's okay not to see it yet. Understanding unfolds in its own time. And when clarity finally does arrive, quietly or all at once, it changes how I move. My choices become more intentional, more honest, more aligned with who I am becoming. But even then, I don't get to control where those choices travel or how they are received, which leads into the next pocket. A reminder that impact has a life of its own. And so the next thing is, what I can't control is the ripples of my choices. every choice sends out ripples. A kind word, a small boundary, a moment of patience, they can shift someone's life in ways I may never witness. Other times, the things I pour my heart into quietly disappear. But my job isn't to control outcomes. It's to act with clarity and care. Once a choice leaves my hands, it belongs to the world. There's a deep relief in trusting that, in knowing I don't need to orchestrate or monitor every ripple. Some ripples return years later. Others keep traveling beyond my sight. All of them matter, not because of their impact, but because of the intention they were born from. So the affirmation in this pocket for myself is, once released, my choices find their own shore. I trust the current. And as these ripples move outward, touching places I may never see, there's one place where truth always returns. That's my own body, the closest shoreline I have. And that brings me to my last pocket. I can't control my body's language of fatigue, grief, and aging. My body speaks long before my mind does. Through all these physical sensations like my tiredness, tightness, restlessness, aches and pain, it carries every story I haven't said aloud and every truth I haven't yet processed. And when it slows down, it isn't betraying me, it's trying to care for me. We try to control our bodies because they reveal our limits, and our limits reveal our humanness. But my body isn't asking to be controlled, it's asked to be listened to. And it is the oldest witness I have, the one that carried me through every chapter with such quiet loyalty. So this pocket reminds me that my body is not my enemy, it's my partner. When I rest, listen and soften towards it, I return to myself more fully than any form of control has ever allowed. So my affirmation for this pocket is, I listen, I rest, my body is not my enemy, it's my oldest ally. And as I sit with everything my body carries, all the tiredness, the grief, the tenderness of simply being human, it feels right that the final part of this page circles back to what is mine to hold. Not the weather, not the timing, not other people's healing, not the versions of me that live in someone else's memory, but the quiet, steady places where my choices still matter, where my agency hasn't left me, where my gentleness has room to root. So now I'm attaching this envelope right at the top of the page. The 10 things I can control. I want this one to sit above the others, not because it's more important, but because it often gets buried. My mind jumps so quickly to what I cannot control that I sometimes forget the few precious things that I actually can control. There's something grounding about placing this envelope here at the top of the page, almost like a reminder that even when life feels messy or unpredictable, there's something steady to return to. Not a long list, not a complicated system, just 10 small human things that live within my hands. Like attaching it here feels very symbolic to me. It's like anchoring myself again after wandering through all the places where my power doesn't reach. Now I get to come home to the place where it does. 10 things I can control. I made a list of it with affirmation, and I will make a link in the description below. You can find the printable kit, all the 10 things I can't and can control on my profile page if you would like to download it. So, as I start decorating my little envelope, I'm reminded how much meaning can be held in these tiny pieces of paper. I'm fussy cutting here this print out, and I think I might also go through my little bits and pieces from my November printable kit, and maybe even a little bit of fabric. I can play around with the little bits and pieces and just feel into what feels right for me. There's something really therapeutic about this part of the process, the soft, like this snipping and clipping and rearranging, and this gentle decision of here, yeah, that feels right. And it's not about perfection as always, it's about presence. The presence that reminds me I have a say in how I shape my world, even if the world itself can't always be shaped. And here, adding this little envelope image, one of my favorite pieces actually from this printable kit, there's again something really meaningful about these envelopes. The things we hold close, the things we send out, the things we keep tucked away for just the right moment. I'm cutting a small slit into the top of the envelope, just enough, I think, to tuck in something inside. I love these tiny interactive touches. They invite curiosity even from myself. They say there's something here for you, something worth returning to. It feels fitting for this page because the entire layout is really an act of returning to myself, to compassion, to the truths that I can only hold what's mine. I can't control what doesn't belong to me. So as a next step, I'm slipping this sweet little stamp with the flower into this slit here I made in the envelope. It's such a small thing, but small things matter, especially when the world feels uncertain. A tiny bloom peeking out of an envelope, almost like a reminder that even within the smallest spaces, something gentle can still grow. And for me, this flower is a symbol of the small but steady choices that shape a day. How I speak to myself, how I pause before reacting, how I return to breathe when I feel overwhelmed. The little things I can control, even when nothing else is working out the way I hoped. So now, as the last step, I will take my pen and begin shaping those words, a small letter to myself tucked safely under this fold up envelope, waiting for the days when I need a reminder that even when the world feels uncontrollable, there's still a place inside me where calm can take root. Dear me, you don't have to hold the world together. You only need to hold your presence within it. You can choose the tone of your inner voice, the one that whispers instead of shames. You can choose to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, to wait before assuming. You can set boundaries that make room for your aliveness. You can practice small rituals that remind your nervous system it's safe to exhale. You can repair what's yours to repair with others and with yourself. And you can nurture the stories that bring compassion instead of control. You can notice beauty even in the middle of chaos. You can listen, you can rest, you can begin again. The world will keep spinning. People will feel, forget, love, and misunderstand. But here, in this small space, you can keep choosing gentleness. With lots of love and care, me. And as I finish writing this letter, I can feel something settling, not because I've solved anything, but because I've named what's actually mine to hold, and there's something really powerful about putting it on paper, almost like offering myself a small promise to return to when life pulls me off center again. So I'm tucking it into this little envelope, letting it rest there quietly, like a note from a future version of me who already remembers her way back to calm. It feels like the softest kind of closure, not an ending but a grounding. And here is the whole page, all these tiny pockets holding what I can let go of, and the envelope holding what I can keep. When I look at it like this, it feels almost like a map, a gentle reminder that I don't need to hold everything, just the parts that bring me back to myself. If this idea speaks to you, I would love to hear about it. Let me know one thing you are ready to release or one thing you are choosing to hold with care. Share it in the comments. Your reflection might be exactly the reminder someone else needs today. And if you enjoyed creating alongside me, you're welcome to subscribe or download the free November printable kit linked in the description. I'd love to see you again next week for another quiet moment of crafting and reflection. Until then, take good care of the things that are yours to hold and let the rest be weather.